Hey, what's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back. This is HD, and I'm coming at you guys with a special commentary here because, as you guys can tell, this isn't one of the traditional maps in StarCraft 2. This is actually one of the new maps that has been created for IPL, which, as most of you guys know out there already, I kind of work for. I'm partnered with IPL. I basically do a 9 to 5 there, and then I do YouTube in my free time. I know there's some confusion in the community regarding that. I wanted to address that in the next video that I do. I might do some kind of a special, I don't know, a day in the life of HD, what's going on in my life and things that I'm doing right now and projects that I'm working on. So that'll be coming up next. I'll clarify some of the things that I'm doing, especially with concerns to IPL. But yeah, this is actually one of the games that came out of IPL's Mapmaker contest, and what it essentially was is a tournament. But not only was it a tournament by standard means, it also was a tournament that was going to be played on only new maps submitted by the user community in StarCraft 2. So a lot of people came up with some very cool idea for maps. You guys can see this one right here is actually my favorite one. I casted this a few days ago, so yes, I've already casted this before, but the game was so good, and in fact all the games that I saw on this particular map were so good that I really just had to bring it back to you guys one more time on YouTube. So the map is called Sandshore and Mist. The players are going to be Saladin and Complexity MVP Tails. I think that's a really funny name, by the way. Nobody knows who Saladin is, but apparently he's like a super uber pro, I wouldn't say pro, but super uber good gamer. Obviously Complexity MVP Tails is a very, very good pro gamer, I believe in Code A right now. Yeah, this is a very interesting map. I'm just going to go ahead and walk you guys through it. As you guys can see, here's the main, here's a ramp leading down to the natural. Everything looks pretty standard, iffy jiffy there, and nothing too crazy about that. But the real interesting thing I think about this map is the fact that you've kind of got the island mechanic coming back in the game. You guys can see in the bottom right hand corner a smiley face, in the top left hand corner you've got a smiley face up there as well. So you've got island mechanic, but also in the middle of the map you kind of have multiple attack paths. This is the center of the map with a Xel'Naga tower and presumably a space shark or something like that, which is dormant right now. It actually like turns on when the Xel'Naga tower is on, which is kind of funny, but it's part of the Xel'Naga tower. You have multiple attack paths in the center of the map. So what tends to happen is very interesting games start to kind of evolve from it, and I'm a big proponent about having new maps in the map pool. You guys know about this because I've been talking about this for a long time. I'm all about having new maps in the map pool because I think it generates new, innovative, creative styles of play. It really forces players to adapt to a new environment and a new architecture of the map. It really kind of throws players off balance a little bit, but it also provides for very, very interesting games. Last thing I want to really call to your guys' attention is in every single main there is this kind of what I like to call the helicopter landing pad, and the reason why I say that is because this is like a prime location for medevac drops, warp prism drops, overlord drops, anything you want. Even blink stalkers can blink right up here and then walk right into the main. So it's a very interesting map, a lot of cool mechanics, but it still definitely lends itself into a normal macro game if you want to. So that's pretty much my introduction to the map. I'm very excited to cast this game. As I said before, this was a really good one, and this map in particular is it's just really, really cool to just to watch. I mean, it's very nicely well designed as well. So that's that. Now, oh wow, MVP Tails is going to go ahead and go for a very fast Nexus here. That's pretty risky. Keep in mind, guys, this is a Protoss versus Protoss, and typically in PvP you don't really want to go ahead and get an expansion right away, because most of the times when you do that you're really going to leave yourself vulnerable to a lot of counterattacks, a lot of basically all-out aggression. And I've said this time and time again, Protoss versus Protoss, it's one of those matchups where Protoss sort of lacks the ability to defend itself, so a lot of times it kind of becomes a one base versus one base hectic mayhem. But Tails obviously defying that law and is going to go ahead and go right for a Nexus, which I think is very, very risky. This could totally backfire in his face, or it could work wonders for him, depending on what Saladin does. Now, I do want to also say that Saladin is a very aggressive Protoss player. I've seen him play before a couple of times, and I know he is very, very good with the aggression. So look at this. He's going one base with Twilight Council and Robotics Facility, and 3 gates, so it looks like he's going to go for a 3-gate Blinkstalker here. 4-gate Blinkstalker? Wow, that's an additional gateway if he adds it on. No, Okay, 3-gate Blink Stalker here, and he's getting the Observer so he can blink right into the Protoss main. Now, as I said before, this is the helicopter landing pad, so this is a great place for even Blink Stalkers to just kind of scale the cliffs with Blink, with an Observer spawning the high ground, and then continuing to go inwards. So this could work really well against Tails, who did go for an expansion. Certainly, Saladin's got a window of opportunity to make this happen, but the longer he waits, obviously, the further behind he's going to fall. So we'll have to see what's going to happen. I don't want to spoil too much. As I said before, I did see this game already. I don't usually preview my games because I don't want to really spoil it for myself, but this one was casted for IPL, and I thought it was just really, really funny. And I didn't really want to, you know, let this replay go to waste because it was such a good game. So for all the guys out there who may only watch StarCraft 2 videos strictly on YouTube, I thought this was a good opportunity to bring it back for you guys. But hopefully that dispels the myth that a lot of people think that I might watch replays by myself before I go ahead and cast the games. No, I rarely, if ever, do that, just because, like I said, I don't want to spoil it. Anyways, let's see what happens here. We've got 3 gates for MVP Tails and a robotics facility really pumping out those Immortals right now. That's quite a hefty amount of Immortals. Interesting. So Tails is definitely making a lot of Immortals right now, and that's going to be pretty good against the Blink Stalkers that are coming out from Saladin, who right now, there's a Space Shark. It has been activated. It goes around the Zelnanga Tower in circles. Kind of interesting. But even more interesting, I feel like, is the Warp Prism that we have coming out here. Now, I've seen Saladin do this before. What he likes to do, if he can pick off that Observer, then his Observer will not be able to be picked off. And that's important because Saladin needs his Observer right now to get into the main. Although he does have a Warp Prism, I suppose. But anyways, the Warp Prism very important here because he basically gets everything on the ground that cannot blink, such as the sentries or maybe Immortals, into the Warp Prism, and he ferries them right over the cliff, and that's what he's going to do right here. Everything comes inside, and now the sentries can come in here as well, and Saladin is probably going to force field this ramp. And yes, he will force field the ramp, so there it is. That is a very ingenious maneuver right now, and the sentries now can actually keep this ramp force fielded for a very long time. The Stalkers are just destroying everything inside the main. The Immortal has come out of the robotics facility, but the Immortal will not be able to do anything as it gets picked apart by the Stalkers. And of course, Saladin has a quick reinforcement route, in fact, a direct reinforcement route right into the main here, as he can warp in more units. And what is Tails doing? Wow, Tails has decided at this point, you know what, I'm not going to be able to defend my base. I have no way to get back into my main because of the sentries, so I'm just going to go for the all-out counterattack. But Saladin already one step ahead of that. He has sentries on the ramp, and he launches a perfect force field and keeps the forces outside of his main. And this has got to be one of the most frustrating situations ever for Tails. Essentially force fielded from not only defending, but also force fielded from being offensive. He is basically stuck in the middle of the field now. He will pick off one warp gate, but really, in the grand scheme of things, Saladin can keep this ramp force fielded for a very long time. In fact, indefinitely, because he has 4 sentries, and just mine more resources and get more units on his side of the field. So this is just incredible. And Saladin, with one of the best maneuvers I've seen in quite some time. I will say right now, Saladin is a very, very intelligent player. Based on what I've seen him do before, very cerebral when it comes to his playstyle. He's a thinking man's player, or a thinking player, I guess makes more sense. But he's a very intelligent player, and he makes smart tactical decisions. Speaking of decisions, looks like Tails is going to go ahead and get an expansion on the top left. And oh no! Saladin with the force field miss! He has to lay down a second force field, not quite getting the efficient force field right on the ramp. And the Immortals have been allowed inside, and now the rest of the forces are leaking through the bottom left of that force field. And oh, Saladin is going to lose his entire main now. He's got to evacuate the base with the probe, so now all of a sudden everything is up in the air. And really no clear determination for the victory in this matchup because both players have essentially assaulted each other's mains and nobody really coming out clearly ahead. One thing though is certainly Tails has another Nexus coming up. He has a Nexus coming up at the top left. I wonder if this pylon sees it. Might see that mineral patch. And right now Saladin is losing his entire main. Twilight Council has gone down, Warp Gate has gone down second, the final Warp Gate is going to go down as well. The Nexus is not going to stand much longer either as the Immortals and the Stalkers combine fire. Look at how fast they take down that Nexus, and they're not even all focusing it down right now. They're kind of just, I think it's just a couple of the forces shooting it. So that's pretty insane. MVP Tails also going to lose his Nexus in his base, and so it's essentially an all-out base race situation right now with Saladin building a solo pylon to stay alive in this game. Pretty smart. He's got all of his probes evacuated as well, but this is such This is such an interesting little base race situation. I can't help but feel, though, that despite Saladin having a tech advantage in terms of blink, and remember guys, blink is the ability that allows stalkers to be much more mobile and agile, I still feel like it's not going to be that good when he's dealing against the firing squad Immortals. Obviously Immortals doing, what, 50 damage to Armored? You can blink all day, but you're not blinking away from a 50 damage shot, which basically is a direct projectile. It doesn't take very long to do. But oh my god, look at this! Saladin loads up some of his probes, he hightails it to the island at the top left of Sandshorn Mists, and he is going to go ahead and build a hidden nexus. So he's actually built a nexus inside the main of Tails as well. Wow, he is going to go ahead and double build a nexus with whatever resources he had left. And now this is actually really intelligent from him, because while this nexus is going to be here, it is vulnerable, this nexus will not be. So he's essentially got double he's got a backup nexus essentially. If he loses one, he's still gonna have another one to keep in the game. And I honestly feel like this one is not gonna be very easy for Tails to get to unless he gets a Warp Prism of his own. So this is a very interesting development here. At the same time, though, Tails is actually mining right now. Tails is literally physically mining, whereas Saladin just started mining out of his well, first nexus that came up. So right now Tails has an advantage in terms of collecting resources. He's actually making money, and Saladin is not. Saladin is actually just kind of the homeless man wandering the streets right now, trying to figure out what to do. Just now getting building a tent in the top left and a little bungalow in the bottom right. But here we go. Saladin finds a ledge. In fact, his own main now. He has ledging the Protoss player. He's ledging Tails, so he's found the final nexus of Tails. This is very intelligent from him. And look at him bringing in sentries. He could, oh, he missed the force fields right there. If he had landed 2 perfect force fields, he could have actually trapped those probes, I think. But he actually missed his opportunity to do so. But this is just really smart. Look at this. Preventing all mining from happening on all bottom 5 mineral patches. And essentially, Tails now going to be starved because he just can't mine. And I mean, as soon as the probes get over there, they get shot. So, man, talk about a stressful working environment. You can't even mine minerals without almost getting your head chopped off by these stalkers. And now Saladin blinks 4 stalkers down. And this is just going to be very annoying for Tails to deal with. Tails is actually... Okay, so Tails knows about the nexus at the right, and at this point it looks like he's deciding to go ahead and just go all out for the base race, thinking that if he can kill off this nexus, he's going to be ahead in this game, and he thinks he can win out the base race. But little does he know that there's actually a nexus at the top left of the map. Oh no, he doesn't know about the nexus up here. And actually, very smart play by Saladin, because look at this, guys. Saladin is not building any key tech facilities here. He is actually building everything here for the long term. All the gateways, all the gas, some of the probes, obviously. And this is really smart. He's essentially used this nexus as a decoy to basically distract Tails while he goes in, and Tails assumes that this is going to be a base race. So this is just very smart play from Saladin. Not only was he camping the ledge, he baited Complexity MVP Tails all the way to the right of the map, and now he is going to kill off all the structures, it looks like, and really nothing that Tails can do. Tails thinks this is the last building, I would imagine, but little does he know there's an actual base at the top left-hand side of the map. So this is terrible for MVP Tails. Just, this is terrible. Although he may be able to get back in time to save one of his buildings at the very least, and yes, he will, as it looks like he researched Blink here, ladies and gentlemen. So wow, he actually got Blink somehow, some way. It looks like he had a Twilight Council here. He researched Blink to catch up to Saladin while he was mining off that base. So clutch Blink right there, getting that upgrade. But the problem here now is that how in the world is he going to get to the top left-hand corner of the map? If you think about it, I don't think it's possible, because if you think about it, he's got no nexus now. He lost his nexus. Saladin killed off his final nexus. He has no way to mine now. He cannot build a new nexus, so he cannot research or get a robotics facility, essentially, which is what he needs to get a Warp Prism to get to the top left-hand corner of the map. There is no physical way for him to win this game at this point. It's mathematically impossible for him to win, simply because by the law of StarCraft 2, you can't obviously win if you can't get to this island, unless you can blink across this bridge. which is I don't know if you can. MVP Tails is kind of chilling at the top left right now, and he doesn't know about the Nexus over there. But I wonder if you could blink stalkers across that. I don't know. I don't think you can without vision. I think what you need is an observer or a warp prism or some air unit to scout that top left hand corner. Otherwise, I don't think there's any way for him to get over there. This is incredible. And Saladin now is just going to play the merry-go-round around the middle of the map. Tails cannot do anything. He cannot mine. He has no money. And at the moment in time, Saladin continues to get resources on the map. So Saladin is just eventually going to build up a much larger army, even though he's going to, I think he might lose his stalkers in the middle of the field. It really doesn't matter. So we'll have to see. I don't know if Tails can blink across this, then he can get back in this game. But if he cannot, then he's pretty much out of it. And we'll just have to wait and see what happens. Oh no. And the funny thing is, Tails right here, he knows there's a Nexus somewhere on the map because Saladin is not being revealed right now. In StarCraft 2, you get revealed when you have no Nexus on the map. Essentially, that is to make it so that you cannot hide your buildings and basically prolong the inevitable. But Saladin is not being revealed right now, so that means that Tails knows there's a Nexus somewhere. He's checked all the ground expansions and he doesn't see anything, so at this point he's got to know that Saladin is at the island somewhere, and he's got to go for the blink here. I mean, I would imagine he's got to make the attempt at the very least. He can't keep chasing Saladin around the map. Saladin's just he's just playing the merry-go-round. And oh no, the longer that Tails waits, I mean, honestly, when the Dark Templar come out, it's not going to be possible for Tails to win. He has no way to detect. And Complexity MVP Tails asks him, "You have base?" Yes, GG. So that's that. That's the game. Tails, of course, in his broken English, because he is Korean, obviously, asking, "You have base?" Yes, GG. And Tails realizes, he knows that he can't win the game now. I mean, obviously, if a Protoss player, if your opponent is mining and you are not mining, there's no mathematical way for you to win. Eventually, you know, I mean, obviously you can win in some situations, but in this one you cannot, because Tails can never, ever attack that base at the top left. Like I said, unless he had attempted to blink, which I still don't think he could have done. I mean, that's a very, very long bridge, and without vision across the left, I'm pretty sure you can't make that blink journey. So, that's that. The funny thing is, what if Saladin actually had a Nexus hidden, like, I don't know, like in the top corner right here, or in the middle of the map or something, and then Tails had asked, "You have base?" and then Saladin just said yes, and then Tails had left. With Tails, that would have been really funny, because maybe Tails could have won the game if the Nexus, I don't know, had been located somewhere on the low ground rather than being on the island. But that was definitely one of the more interesting ones, and this is why I really, really like this map. Sandshore Mist tends to churn out some really, really fun games. I'll say that at the very least. So that was that. This was a interesting Protoss versus Protoss, which is part of a best of 3 series. I felt like this was the best game, the highlight game of that series, so I went ahead and broadcasted it for you guys. Once again, this is part of the IPL Mapmaker tournament. Make sure to show your support for IPL. You guys can follow the links down below, and if you guys get a chance, follow me on Facebook and Twitter, and also check me out on YouTube, obviously, where you guys are watching this video, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace out, guys. HD, signing out.